Hello again. So today we're going to go over drawing with Illustrator, more specifically importing a photograph, tracing it, and then exporting it as a DXF for import into Fusion 360. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a new file. When you open up Illustrator, you'll see it like this. Click on Create New. It'll give you some options. Over here you can see there is the sizes, 8.5 by 11. You can simply change the orientation like so, which is pretty easy. The main thing you want to make sure though is the file is in inches. There's all these other options, but inches is what we want to use. Okay, so then create. Now you can see our blank board. They call these artboards in Illustrator. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place a photograph. And in order to do that, we want to go to File, Place. Okay, so now you want to find your file on your hard drive. Dun, dun, dun. And push place. It'll give you, you can see on the cursor, it's sort of attached, so you just want to click on the artboard. It'll be full size, which is probably going to be too large. So you want to come down here to the corner, click and drag. You can see how if I click and drag, it can distort it. You can undo that by pressing Option Z, or actually Open Apple Z. If we hold down Shift while we drag, it keeps it a constant ratio, so that way it doesn't distort the image. The other thing we can do is, I have this sideways, it's like a spoon sitting on a table. If you go down here, you can kind of see if right outside of the corner, it turns into this little double arrow, and if you click on that and drag it, it rotates it. In order to get it to rotate exactly 90, just hit that Shift key and hold that down and let go. So that's a pretty simple way to resize. So now we want to trace our photograph, our drawing of our photograph. So we're going to go to Object, Image Trace, and then Make. We're going to click on OK. It's probably going to be fine. And you can see not exactly what we want. We want to have this evened out. So if we come down here and click on this little button up here, it will give us all the options for our image trace. You also open up Advanced so you can see a little bit better. And we really don't want these ragged edges. We really want to smooth those out. We want it to be on black and white mode, and the other main thing is ignore white. We don't want anything. It will essentially create shapes out of the white, which we see as negative, into shapes, which we don't need. We just need the black shape. Okay, so threshold. You can kind of adjust the threshold. You can see how that kind of affects what ends up being in the drawing, what it turns into. We can lower the paths. That sort of softens it. We can also get rid of some of the corners. That's going to soften it. Let's see if we can do this. Try something. And this is going to get rid of some of these little pieces around. Let's see. You can see that one. Let's see if we can get rid of that by moving the noise up higher. Not quite, but that'll be fine. Yeah, definitely lower. It's a lot smoother on this one. Okay, and also you wanted to make sure that it was a preview, because if you don't, you won't be able to see it. Then we can just click off this. So now you want to go to Object and Image Trace Expand. So now we have our drawing as vector. You can kind of see, if you look really closely, there's a blue line around that drawing. We also have these little pieces we want to get rid of, and even maybe smooth that out. So what we'll do is we'll select this selection tool right here, the direct select tool. We'll zoom in really close and get that, and then just click delete. And there's one over here. Okay, and you can sort of see the anchor points here, and if we wanted to, we can just actually click on the anchor points, then click again, and drag it. Or the other thing we can do is we can just delete them by clicking on it and then pushing delete. You can see that really smooths it out. So if we want to make sure that we don't have any other little pieces of anything, you can kind of just select everything. Okay, so now here's the other issue is, so our negative is okay, but what the problem is it's probably going to be too small. So we're going to have to get rid of that negative. One way to do that is the shape tool. Well, actually, the best way to do that might be just to delete these anchor points. That's all you have to do. But let's say I still want a negative space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a circle over here. And you can see if this is a relative size, we're going to have bigger than a 1/2 inch. Actually, maybe I want it to be a complete, if I want it to be a complete circle, I can just hold shift while I do that. And it ends up being a perfect circle. I'll center that. And then I'm going to select both of those. And then I'm going to come over here to the shape builder tool. And then just click on that. And now I should be able to just delete. So now we have a punched hole. And this is actually just one shape. Okay. So the next thing to do is if we're fine with our size for our actual finished object, which this will be, you can see there, 8.21. That's about right for me, I think. The other thing that you could do is you could straighten it or not. I'm going to go to Object. Oops, we will make sure we have it selected. Object, Compound Path Release. So what that's going to do is define each of these lines as lines rather than shapes. So if you had any negatives, it'll be fill in, and that's fine. That's what you want it to be. You want it to fill in, and if it didn't fill in, there may be something else wrong. Okay, and now that we did that, we want to go to Export. Oops. We want to export as. We want to select where we want it. I'm going to name it. Actually, I'm going to go down here first to Format. And we're going to go to AutoCAD Interchange File, DXF. So DXF file is what we want. Now I can come back up here and I'll put spoon and click export. We want to make sure that our scale is 1 inches to 1. We're also, this is fine, the 2010, 2011, 2012 option. We want all these other settings to be the same, and we just click on OK. And there you have it. Our file is exported and ready for Fusion 360.